Welcome everyone to Dead Talk Live, and tonight we have our special guest with us, Cristina Rodlo. Cristina, thank you so much for being with us. How you doing?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
Absolutely, it is our honor to have you here with us. And I got to tell you, since No One Gets Out Alive has come out, you have become a hot item in Hollywood. The movie has come out to some pretty good reviews. Your performances is getting rave reviews as it should. So, in the little bit over a week that it's come out, has anything changed for you?
Not really. I mean, everything's pretty much the same. I'm just very excited that people are liking it as much as they are. Like I've been getting really amazing comments from all the fans, and that's really great. I mean, that's always the hope and the dream. Like people like it, and so far they are liking it. So
That's
hopefully it stays like that.
Yeah, I saw it a while ago and I loved it. Now, you are not new to acting by any means. You've been acting in a lot of Spanish television and movies. How did the transition happen and you getting this role on a Netflix movie?
Well, I've been working in the States a lot since 3 years ago. So I moved to the States after I did a movie called Miss Bala with Gina Rodriguez, directed by Catherine Harwick. And after that, pretty much my career changed. I was working in Mexico a lot, and then I did Miss Bala, and I got opportunities to cast at like really major films and shows. And after that, I got Too Old to Die Young, which was a show for Amazon Prime, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. And then The Terror for AMC, and then 60 Whiskey for Paramount Plus, and then No One Gets Out Alive, and I another film. So yeah, I mean, for the last three and a half years, I've been working in the States a lot, which I'm very very grateful for.
So, how did the role of Amber come your way? Was it just a regular, audition and you got the role? Did you have to do a lot of callbacks?
No, it was a casting. It was a normal casting. I was not at that moment. I was in Mexico. I don't know why, but I was in Mexico and I couldn't be in LA when they were holding the audition. And then so I sent my self tape. And after that, Carla Hull, which is the casting director, asked me to do a callback. And again, I was not in LA, so I was like, I cannot go. And she was like, well, okay, well, let's figure it out what we can do. And so they hold the callbacks with the other actresses. And then Santiago was like, well, okay, so can I meet Christina at least and see, I mean, like, see her vibe? And we chat for like over an hour and a half on Skype. This was 2 years ago. It was in 2019, I think. And we clicked like instantly. We got along really well. I understood the character really well, and he loved that. And we talked about the film a lot. And he was like, well, okay, so this is not my decision, but I hope it's you. I mean, I still need to go back to the producers and everything because you're not doing a callback. You're just like, it's just me meeting you. And I'm like, well, I hope it works. And after that, like, I think it was a week, and we got the call that I got the role.
That is so awesome. And they gave it to the right person. Now, Amber is a character of desperation, put into her circumstances because of her desperate situation. How did you feel about the character you were portraying?
Well, I was very afraid of portraying. I'm very afraid and very excited at the same time of portraying Amber because she's in the movie the whole time. You see her the whole time, and she goes through a lot. So for me, it was like I had to be very clear on how I wanted to play it because I think there's many ways things can go wrong with playing Amber. So for me, it was like, okay, I need to find moments of hope for Amber as well, because everything goes wrong for her.
Hmm.
Everything is like one thing after another. Nothing is right for her. So everything is like, oh my God, can you give this girl a break? Right. So so it was definitely hard, but I talked to Santiago a lot. Like before we started shooting, we went through the script, like scene by scene, like how I explained to him how I wanted to play Amber, and then he explained to me, and then we came to a middle point where we both were happy, and that was it. I mean, I wanted to be very very clear and to give Amber an arc as well, because if not, it could be like, oh, okay, like it could be very tedious at a point, because it's like, okay, like, well, now it's something else, right? So I did wanted to give her some layers, and I hope I did.
Yes, yes. Now, the film is based on a novel uh, that takes place in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's an immigrant's view on America. Uh, the movie, it was changed up a bit. First of all, were you familiar with the novel? Did you read it when you got the part? Have you read it since?
I haven't read the novel. The novel is very different to what this script is. The
Hmm.
novel happens in the UK. It's not about immigration. It's more about the girl having a relationship that doesn't work, and they move to a place, and they have money, but not enough money. So it's very different. So I didn't want to have any ideas on, like, based on the novel to put it on the script, because it was a completely different, like, it
Yeah.
wasn't a completely different story, but it was like developed differently.
Hmm.
So I was like, I'm just not gonna read it. And I just met Adam like a week ago. I was in London and I met him, and he's great. And he gave me the book because now they're doing a new release with
With the movie.
the post yeah, with the movie poster on the book. So now I have that, and I'm obviously gonna read it. I can't wait to start reading it.
What do you think? Did you put any, when you were doing the role, did did you put any feelings behind the role as far as immigrants in America, poverty? Amber was not documented. She had to lie and say she was an American citizen. She was basically lying her entire life. What did you do to add that layer, your own layer to that, into the role?
Well, to me, that was one of the main reasons I wanted to do this role, because it was not a scary film just to be scary and entertaining. I think it had a statement, and that was the main thing for me. I love the genre, but I think this one had like a purpose. It was not only entertainment. So for me, it was huge to have it right about the immigration, because of everything that has happened in since forever,
Hmm.
really. so so I mean, and me being an immigrant as well. I mean, I come from Mexico. I've been in the States for the last 3 years, but I moved to the States when I was 18 to study acting. So, like, and it's always a constant, when you belong but you don't belong at the same time, and you
Yeah.
always feel like it's not your home, but you call it home. So it's that very weird relationship, and for me, it was very important that people can feel a connection with the immigrant story, and hopefully, like, for me, it was like, if they can connect with Ambar, if they can feel her pain, if they can see themselves as Ambar when you're not an immigrant, so when you're like you, right? So if you see Ambar and you're like, oh my God, this poor girl. Well, this poor girl is every immigrant
Yeah.
in every single country in the world.
Hmm.
So if you felt that connection, then you should feel it with every immigrant that you see on the news, and that people have judged so easily, like. So for me, it was like, you see how she had hopes, you see how she had dreams, you see how she was really trying, and everything went wrong. Well, that's usually what
That's
happens,
real
you
life.
know yeah.
Exactly. Now, there was, I mean, one of the biggest things with your character is you are haunted by your mom that passed away in the film. And the way I understood how you played the character, there was a part of you that held some resentment towards your mom and her sort of guilting you to taking care of her in her dying days, and you feel like you've lost out on some important years of your life. That was the impression I got for how you played Amber in regards to your mom on the movie. Is that what you were going for?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and she feels guilty to have this resentment at the same time, because she decided to stay. No one forced her to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So like the background that I did on Amber is like she's been like with her mom for the last 6, 7 years. So she hadn't had a life. She hasn't had a life since 6 years, 7 years ago. She doesn't have any friends. She hasn't seen anybody. She hasn't dated anybody. So like for me, it was like, of course she has a resentment. Of course she's like, I miss so much, and so for her, it was like, okay, so now and that's why also she cannot stay in the same city, right? That's why she has to go away. She has to start over. And the only way she can see herself starting over, it's not in Mexico. It has to be in another country. And the only family she has it's her uncle in Cleveland. So she's like, okay, this could be my way out, right? So yeah, I mean, for Amber, really.
Now, when you read the script, there's a lot of loose ends that don't get tied up with the supernatural aspect of the film, and Mark Menchaca's character, who he was on our show a couple of weeks ago. He's brilliant. First of all, what was it like working with Mark?
It was amazing. I mean, like you said, Mark is brilliant. He's an amazing actor, and he's an amazing human being. And we met in Cleveland, and from the moment we met, it was like we knew each other from years ago, and we had an amazing relationship. And then when we were in Romania, we pretty much would hang out every single day. Like we were together every day. He's great. He was amazing, and he's a great partner on set. Like he's always there for you, and he always gives a lot. And I mean, to make his character so likable, like you kind of like root for him at some point. You're like, oh, come on, you're good. There's like the way he played it. It's so good. It's like,
well, it's like I told him, your character, I felt sympathy for his character.
Yeah.
Because he felt this obligation to his brother, but he didn't have the guts enough to stand up to his brother at the same time, and went along with him. And that's a very difficult thing to pull off and get it, seen through the screen. And he did a great job. What did you think of the whole, going back to my original question, with the whole paranormal aspect, with that box? A lot of stuff is left open-ended at the end. When you read the script, what were your impressions of that aspect, the paranormal aspect of the film?
When I first read the script, I honestly, I'm going to be super honest on this. I went to Santiago and be like, can you explain me exactly what the box
Yeah, because we don't know.
Because so I went to Santiago, and he was like, yeah, no. and he had it very clear. He knew what the box would do, and he knew how it would look, and like he had like a very vivid idea of what was going to be. So he explained it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. But at the beginning, to be honest, I didn't get it either when I read it, and then Santiago explained it, and I think one of the reasons the movie works is because it's not explanatory at all. It's like it gives you the option to have like a lot of imagination, and like the end, it's like up to you to make. Do you think Amber stays? Do you think she leaves? Because like we shot a different ending where Amber leaves, and they didn't keep that. They kept Amber. Like you don't know if she leaves or stays.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's very smart. I think the box. It's like once I saw it, I was like, oh, they did a great job. I think it's very smart. I mean, I don't know what you got from the box or what were your thoughts on it.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not like you said. It's not told to us, which I like that part. I don't like it when stories are handed over to us step by step on a silver platter. I like stuff that's left up to the viewer interpretation. But when it comes to no one gets out alive in that box, there's a lot of room for interpretation. So I'm assuming what he told you about that box, you are not allowed to share, correct?
No, I'm allowed to share. I mean, the box is like it's like quite simple. I mean, the monster wants people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So once you do, I do think because the ritual that Becker and Red do, you don't have to do it
Yeah.
because Ambar at the end she doesn't do it, right? So that was their idea. They were like, oh, we need to do this because probably their father did it because that's how they started doing it, right?
Yeah.
So, but the monster, in my opinion, it's like as simple as I just want I want humans that don't want to be like they're ready to leave because that's why the monster lets me go because she's like, no, dude, I'm not ready. I still have a lot to live and I'm not going away. You're not going to eat me. And that's why the monster is like, oh, well, okay, if you don't want to come, it's all fine. Like, I think the monster is kind of like nice in a way, you know?
Okay, well,
I mean, the boss is the monster.
that makes more sense. That does make more sense. Uh, do you like the way the story ended? You said they shot an alternate ending. Between the two endings, the one that they decided to go with, are you happy with that choice that they made?
I'm happy. I think the ending looks amazing, and I think it's like it gives room to people to talk about it and share what they think would happen. In my opinion, Amber would never stay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, she got healed and she feels the energy and she feels the power that this monster gives to her. But she's like, now she's too good. She's nice, and she just saw her uncle being killed and she
Mm-hmm.
just killed two people, so I think there's no way she would stay, but I love the way they ended it.
And the way at the end how Amber becomes empowered, how did you do that shift when you were playing her to this girl who's desperate, does not want to go back to the building, has to go back to the building? She's lured back by Red with that fake promise that he will give her the rent money back. And, she gets
Mm.
caught, the monster, and that whole empowerment that you talked about. How did you shift gears from that old Amber to the one that we saw at the ending?
You mean at the very very ending or when she goes upstairs and starts
Well, at the
killing
very,
everyone?
very, I mean, at the end when she, like you said, she becomes empowered at the very, very end.
Well, for me it was like I really went through the whole thing. I was like, okay, I just encountered like the worst things possible, right? So, and my life is shit, and I don't have no way to go, and I don't have any money, and I just killed two people, and so that was going through my head when I was walking towards the towards the door,
Mm-hmm.
and then when she stops and she feels the energy coming through her, I was like, I what how I played it. It was like, wow, like this is how this is how it feels to be happy
Yeah.
in a way, right? It's how it feels to everything is okay, which Ambar hasn't felt it for the last 10 years in her life, right? So that's how I played it. It was like, oh my God, I haven't had this sensation, this feeling since forever. So,
Would you say
so that, yeah,
would you say that experience helped with Amber's own demons and her guilt and resentment towards her mother? The whole experience she had to go through in that building and, having to do what she had to do to stay alive. Was it what she needed to do to finally put that chapter with her mom, the guilt, the resentment behind her?
100%. Yeah, that, I mean, yes, 100%. Because the scene when she kills her mom, I mean, it's a dream, but
Mm-hmm.
that's when she finally closes the doors. That's when she finally closes the chapter. She's like, it's not happening anymore. It's not, you're not, but not to her mom. And she's saying it to the world in general. I mean, we see it to her mom, but like, I think she's saying it to the whole world. It's like, you're not ruining my life. I still have an opportunity. I'm still young. I'm still going to fight for this. I'm still going to fight for my dreams. And yeah, that's when she definitely closes like that chapter.
Now, by the end of filming, did you find yourself attached to the character of Amber, where you were sad that you were done, everything had wrapped? As you were shooting, did you as you got more and more into the character, did you feel a personal attachment to Amber?
No, I was exhausted when we finished shooting, to be honest. Because I mean, I was on every scene. I didn't have a day off, right? So we shot for 2 months nonstop,
Wow, 2 months.
and yeah, so I was definitely exhausted. I was like, okay, I'm happy to put Amber aside, like close Amber for a bit and just take a break. And that's what I did. I mean, I came home and I just took a
Do you
break
think
and relaxed.
throughout the 2 months of shooting, as it was progressing, uh, were you growing more and more comfortable in playing Amber? Was she becoming a part of you? Are there any similarities between Christina and Amber?
None,
None.
not at all. I left home when I was 18, so I didn't stay to, like no, none. I went to pursue my dreams when I was 18, and like no one would stop me for that and from that. And no, there was no, I mean, the only similarity is that I made my character from the north. I'm from the north of Mexico as well, and we're both Mexicans, and we both want to be in a country that is not our country. So those are the similarities, but other than that, we're very, very different.
Okay, that's and I mean, like I said, watching you play Amber, I mean, convincing, I mean, is the best word that comes to mind right now. It was just, you were very, very convincing in that character. Amber had such a big heart. We saw that in the building. She wanted to help people who were in need. Then, we see Becker, who's a lunatic, Red, who's caught in the middle. Uh, so, would you say this has been one of the more physically exhausting roles that you've ever had to do?
Yeah, I think this one, it's right there with, there were very different characters, but Too Old to Die Young is another one that I was exhausted after I finished shooting it. I was like drawn, like everything was out of me.
Mhm.
That has been the most exhausting one. No, Too Old to Die Young, and this is definitely the second one.
Since being in the States and starting to do all these other movies in America, what would you say is some of the biggest differences in shooting in Mexico as opposed to doing American productions?
The budget.
Yeah.
That's the only. That's the only difference. I mean, other than that, it's the same thing, but the budget is a huge difference. So, I mean, the money that American productions have, it's huge compared to what Mexico has. I mean, that's the reality, and it's a very sad reality because it's the same platforms, and that come here and spend like way less money than they spend in the U.S.
How big are you in Mexico? I mean, are you a very recognizable face and a name down there?
That's such a weird question to answer.
I know I should be
Uh,
asking somebody else, but hey, I've got you,
yeah,
so why not ask
free
you?
I mean, I don't know. I'm very
Do you get stopped?
the thing for sometimes I do. It depends if I have a project out, like playing. It obviously the people recognize you more. But I mean, and it's just hard to answer that question.
Okay, all right, we'll skip it. We'll skip it. Uh, do you think No One Gets Out Alive gives a good representation of undocumented immigrants in America?
I think it does a really good job of showing how hard it is for an immigrant to come to the States and try to make a living, and the things that they have to I'm blanking on the word, but like the things that they have to
Adjust and just it's a different culture.
well, yeah, it's a very different culture and it's a different language, and they come here to the States trying to have a better life, and like Amber working at this place, like it's horrible, and
Hmm.
she's making shitty money,
Hmm.
right?
It's a
But that shitty
sweatshop.
money,
Yeah, it's a sweatshop.
yeah, but the shitty money that she's making is better than the money she would make in Mexico.
That's a
So
sad
that what
reality.
happens to
Yeah.
immigrants, right? So it's like that's how bad it is in our countries. So for people to don't realize that, the people that complain about immigrants is like, dude, they're doing the job that you're not gonna do because you're not gonna do it, right? And they're doing it happily because they know that this, as shit as it could be, it's better than whatever they can have in their own country.
Yep. That's a sad.
So yeah, I think No One Gets Out Alive does a really good job. Also, I think it's still a horror movie, and it doesn't fully shows the immigration theme as a whole, right? It,
Yeah.
it only touches it a little bit, but I think it's a really good start for sure.
So, what do you think? Since you brought up horror, let's talk a little bit about horror. Are you a horror fan? Before you even did this movie,
I'm a huge horror fan. Yes, I'm such a horror fan. Yeah.
did before No One Gets Out Alive? Had you done any horror before that?
Yeah, I did the Terror for AMC, which is a limited series an anthology series on AMC, and I think right now it's on Hulu. That was horror, and then before that, I did a film in Mexico that it hasn't come out, which is also a horror film.
Uh, so, being a horror fan and getting to act in them, does it take away some of the mystique as a horror fan for you? Like seeing exactly how these scary movies are made, or does it hype it up even more?
I think being an actor, they, I mean, it takes out the mistake of watching any film. Just Like that's the truth,
Yeah.
right? Because unless it's really good film, when you watch a really good film, then you forget about everything. Because usually when you're watching a film and you're an actor or you're in the industry and you know how it works, you're like, okay, how many times is this person or the director gonna cut, or how many? Like you're thinking about many things of the film, that the way they're doing it, right? So when you watch a really good film, you forget about that. So the answer is like, in general, it has happened to me, you know, but then you watch Hereditary and it's like, well, I completely forgot about everything. I was just like so into it, and it's like, this is great, right?
And yeah, I mean, Hereditary, talk about an amazing movie. I mean, talk about a hit that no one saw coming. Now,
Yeah.
what are your feelings in regards to uh, the type of subgenre like No One Gets Out Alive is, the paranormal, supernatural type movies? Do those scare you more than other types of horror movies?
I think it really depends on how well is executed, right? It I think like the movies that scares me the most are thrillers, I guess, because
Hmm.
when you watch a horror film, usually you know what's gonna happen. Usually you're like, oh, I know it's gonna go here and here and here, like it's gonna go through here, this is gonna happen, because that's the way it works. But I think when you watch a thriller, it's when you are like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen, right? When it's a good thriller, obviously. But I think thrillers are the ones that scares me the most.
Now, the whole cast of this movie seems to, from your description and talking to Mark, it was a good tight bond that you guys had on set. Good chemistry. Is Would you describe it the same way? Everybody got along. The chemistry was great on set and helped making the movie that much easier.
100%. We all got along. We all like had an amazing relationship. And also we were all very grateful to be working during a pandemic, right? So
Hmm.
when everybody was at home waiting to see what was going to happen, we were in Romania shooting a film. So I mean, we were like, this is great, and let's make it great, and let's make it work. And like I said, like literally we would be hanging out pretty much every day. I mean, I was shooting, and then unless I was like super exhausted after shooting, but usually after shooting, I would like call them and be like, guys, let's go out and have dinner, and like, or they would call me and they were like, oh, we are here, come here after shoot, you know. So yeah, we had a great relationship, and that made it obviously so much easier, because you're away from home for 2 months and no one can visit you because it's a pandemic, so no one
Hmm.
can come to set, and no one even could come to Romania, right? Because the borders were closed. So it was
Exactly.
really nice, yeah, that we had that bonding.
So, like you said, you're in every scene of this movie. Is that your first experience doing something like that, being in the lead role and being literally in every scene of the movie?
I mean, being the lead role, I've had lead roles in the U.S. and in Mexico, and I've had films in Mexico where I'm like actually the film that hasn't come out, the scary one, the horror one, I'm on every frame as well. So this was my second one big film that I was on every frame of the film,
So how
and it's all scary.
so how is that different from obviously with the more work, but having to carry a film through every scene? I mean, explain to us as an actor what that entails, the amount of responsibility that you as an actor might feel on your shoulders, that the movie is basically relying solely on myself. Does that put an added pressure on you?
Oh my God, 100%. I mean, you every scene that you do, it's like I can't fuck it up. Like, like, because if I do, then it won't work, or it will look like it's gonna be my right. So yeah, it adds a lot of pressure on you, but at the same time, it's like if you do it right, then then it's gonna be great for you as well. So I was just like I was very into the character. I was very focused on every scene, on every day of shooting, and like I said, like talking a lot to Santiago before we started shooting. And like one of the things that I usually do for my characters is to create playlists to the music they would be listening on that specific time, and that helped a lot as well to keep me like focused and like always in the moment.
So tell us about working with Santiago behind the camera. You told us before you started shooting how helpful he was in explaining stuff that you wanted further explanation on. When you guys did start shooting, how did you find his directing behind the camera? Is he very easy? Did he give you a lot of leeway with your acting, or was he very strict, like he wanted it done a certain way and he didn't give you much wiggle room?
No, not at all. He was very like open to hear what I wanted to do, and I was obviously very open to hear what he wanted to do. And also doing a horror film, like many of the scenes, I had to imagine a lot of things. So I would have to really listen to him and tell me like, listen, here like a sound would happen, and then a ghost will cross, and then this would fall. So I would we would need to be on the same page for the scene to work, right? So it was we had like a really good connection, and we tried. Sometimes we didn't as normal, but we tried to be on the same page all the time, because that was like the main thing for both of us. Because at one point we were not on the same page, then the scene wouldn't work, because then he would have one idea of how the horror would work, and then I would have another idea. So the way I would portray the character, it would be wrong for what he would want it to do. So it was like a very close relationship of always talking to each other and always being on the same page.
Is that especially important in horror, maybe more than other genres?
Yeah, I do think so. And I think one of the main things is that the director has to have it very clear what he wants when he gets to post-production, to the editing room, because if he doesn't, then it's going to be a mess. And I think Santiago had a very clear idea of what was going to be when he gets to the editing room, and that helped me have images every time for the scary scenes.
So tell us, when did you first see the finished product? Did Netflix hold a special premiere because of COVID? No. When did you actually watch the final piece that we all got to see?
I watched it I think a month ago. Like the very first time they sent me a link to watch it, and then a week ago they hold a special. I was shooting in London, and the production company Imaginarium from London as well. So they hold a special screening in London, and I was happened to be there, and I saw it again there, but I saw it on a big screen, so that was so much better than watching it on my laptop while I was working abroad, So so I count last week to be the first time that I saw it.
So watching the movie as a fan of movies, horror, and acting in it, what would you say was your favorite scene as a fan in watching it, and what would you say was your favorite moment in shooting it?
My favorite scene watching it was the moment where Ambar is having a dream, one of her many dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in the room, and one of the girls is singing, and so we hear the song, and Ambar, in her dream, she awakes and she sees all the women that Becker has killed.
Yeah.
That scene is my favorite scene of the whole film.
Now, how about
Which is, but I loved it. I loved how it plays, and it really makes you want to cry, and it's like, oh my God, this is like, it really touches you.
yeah,
At
all those
least
trapped souls, they're trapped there.
yeah, and they're looking for help, and they're asking her for help, and that's why she's there. And it's like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
And the voice of Cosmina, who's the actress, I think it's lovely, and it works really, really well.
Now, how about shooting? What was the most fun you can remember, on the set?
I would say, I mean, there were many scenes that were fun, but I think the killing, it was the most fun scene. I mean, spoiler alert. But yeah, I think when she comes to the attic, and Red opens the door, like all that sequence, I think it was the best that I mean, I had a lot of fun in many scenes, but I think that one was, like the big moment.
I mean, I remember when I was watching the film, and those two girls that were in the building with you, where you started questioning, are these girls real or are they spirits? And did you like that aspect, that little twist where it had the audience guessing?
Yeah, I think what Santiago and the editor did, it was amazing. I mean, it was like you were always wondering what was going on, right? You were always debating, like, it's like you said, is this real? Is this not real? Is this actually happening? Because we see Amber having a lot of dreams, so we don't know what's real and what's not. So yeah, I loved it. I think it's a very smart film, to be honest.
It is. It is. Would you categorize this as a psychological thriller?
I think so. I think it shouldn't. I mean, it has a little bit of horror and a little bit of gore, but I think it's more, like you said, it's more psychological thriller for sure, and suspense. Yeah.
And with that mystique, with the box and the mystery surrounding it, obviously the movie's left to a possible sequel. You know, uh, as an actor, of course, I'm assuming you would love to come back and do a sequel to it. As a fan, would you say, you know what, the story is great, leave it as is? Would you like, as a fan, would you like to see a sequel and a continuation of the story and that box to give us more background?
Like I said to Will, one of the producers, um, as an actor and as a fan of horror, I would love to see a sequel 20 years from now. Like, I wouldn't go back. Like, I don't want to go back and do another horror film. I need a break, because it's very draining. But yeah, I think 20 years from now, or 10, not 20, but like 10 years from now, it would be a great sequel to see, like, because I think she wouldn't stay, but I think the box would follow her. And like 10 years from now, where is Amber? What happened to her life? And see how the box is still there, or like following her and hunting her. I think that would be great.
Yeah, and also great to see, how is she after those events? I mean, I'm sure she's dealing with some kind of post-traumatic syndrome after having to experience all of that. Moving forward in your career, do you like to, keep doing the broad spectrum of things as an actress and not be boxed into horror or any particular character or genre, and just feel free to go out and explore everything you could possibly do?
Yes, I mean, that's definitely what I've been trying to do in my career, trying to stay away from being one, just like staying on one box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do like different characters and playing them very differently. and that's what I want to keep doing. Like I said, I do want to stay away from horror for a little bit, because I've been doing three horror things in the last 2-3 years. So I think I definitely need a break. But I mean, in the meantime, I've been doing like things completely different. Like I played in 60 a whiskey, a military, and then on right now the film that I just finished, I play a homeless who plays soccer. So I mean, yeah, I've been doing very different roles, all like throughout my career.
How hard is it to not get boxed in? Let's say you're going from role to role. Not you, an actor in general is going from role to role, taking the work, obviously, but they want to stay diverse and do a broad, spectrum of roles. How difficult is it to achieve that?
It's very difficult. It's a lot, which is very hard for an actor. It's a lot of saying no to things that you're afraid you're never gonna work again, and you're like, I'm saying no to work, and then you're like, well, yeah, but I'm saying no to work because this is not where I want my career to go, right? So it's to be, in order for that to happen and to really happen, you have to be very coherent to what you want, to what you really want to do. And that's what I've been trying to do throughout my career since I started it. I've been on this for 11 years, so that's what I've been doing, and I think it's paying off for sure.
I got to tell you, Christina, I've interviewed a lot of actors, filmmakers, and man, I got to tell you this from what you said earlier in this interview about leaving home at 18 because you were going to pursue your dream. Uh, you just have this passion that just comes through and just talking to you with acting. When in your life did that start? When did you realize that, man, this is what I want to do? Because you have a very strong passion for this craft.
Thank you so much. Yes, I do. It started very young. It started when I was 11 or 12 years old. I took my first theater class in school, and the class was super simple. The teacher asked us to just lay on the ground, and she put some music, and she told us to breathe through the music. And that was it. That was the class for 50 minutes. And I got out of the class and I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. This is what I want to do. So I went to tell my parents that I wanted to be an actress, and they laughed at me, obviously. They were like, yeah, right.
Now who's laughing?
But yeah, but every year I told them, like, I'm going to be an actress and I'm going to go to New York and study. And they were like, yeah, right. Of course. Sure.
Is that where you studied? You studied in New York?
I studied in New York. Yeah. The dream came true.
It
Yeah.
did. It did. And how do you feel New York gave you the advantage when it came to, I don't know what school you went to or workshops you took in New York, but how vital would you say studying in New York was to your career?
Oh, huge. I went to a conservatory training, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, and it changed my life completely. I mean, because I come from Mexico, and in Mexico we don't have, like you guys have in the States, where theater is huge, even in a public school. Like in Mexico, it's not. It doesn't work like that. We don't have
Hmm.
theater, and even on a private school, we don't. In mine, we had, but I was lucky to had it for those 3 years. But it was very weird. Like we never had a play. Like we never did a play or anything. So it's different. And for an 18-year-old to be for the first time by herself in New York, living her dream. Obviously learning from amazing teachers, and it was like, well, yeah, it changed my life, and it made me obviously a better actor for sure. I mean, I really believe that having training helps a lot to become a better actor. I know many actors say the opposite, and they're great as well. But for me, it definitely helped me to become a better actor to have training.
Now, if you,
And and the training that New York gives you, it's even like bigger just
yeah,
by the city, not talking about the school or anything, just by being in the city. It's like, oh my God.
yeah, yeah. Looking ahead in your career, uh, do you have any desire down the line to explore maybe writing, directing, producing, any of that?
100%. Yeah, that's on the next step. Like short future for sure. Yeah, I'm writing, and I want to direct, and obviously produce like my own projects. Yes, yes,
That
100%.
that is awesome. We're pretty much out of time, Christina. I got to tell you, I mean, like I said, I've talked to a lot of people. You have this passion that just comes through, and it's. I think it's great. And to talk to somebody who loves the craft the way you do, it's amazing. And just looking at the what the people are saying, they love you. So, thank you so much for being
Thank you.
our guest. What should we be on the lookout for you coming out in the near future?
Well, I just did a film called The Beautiful Game. That's for Netflix as well. That'll be coming out by mid of next year. So definitely for that one, and hopefully the film that I did in Mexico, the scary one, will come out soon. So that one as well.
Is the one that you did in Mexico, is that going to be released in the United States as well?
Hopefully it could go to a platform or like movie release, like theater released. But I definitely will let you know that that happens.
Awesome, awesome. Christina, again, thank you so much. It's been an honor talking to you. Any final thoughts you want to share before we go?
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great to talk to you too. I've had so much fun. Really, thank you.
It was a
Thank you
lot of
for
fun. It was a
listening as
lot of
well.
fun. Thank you.
And, and for the people who hasn't seen the film, go on Netflix and watch No One Gets Out Alive.
Yes, guys, please do. It's on Netflix. It came out September 29th, correct?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a week ago.
Yeah, it's just been out for a little over a week, if not even a week. It's a week today, I think.
A week.
Check it out. It's called No One Gets Out Alive. It's a paranormal, supernatural, psychological, thriller, horror. It has a great character, great storytelling, and you won't regret it. Christina, of course, is the star. Mark Menchaca is her co-star. I mean, what more can you ask for? Thank you to Christina. Thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe. And we're not going to be back on the air again until next Tuesday. We're going to New York Comic Con tomorrow, so we'll be back at you October 12th, Tuesday, October 12th. So thank you. Stay safe. And until next time, stay walking. Good night.
Thank you guys. Good night.